Good. Well, happy Monday, everybody. That means it's time to do Rotary because you know what? Better way to start the week than to start out with a little conversation about Rotary. I want to thank you guys that are staying on. I know some of you were on from the session before on grants. You know, one of our most fun topics. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about cultivating club culture, because what we're seeing and what Rotary has done in their research around the world is that they find that club culture, or the way basically a club behaves and acts within that club, is one of the main determining factors of club experience. And what they find is that people either stay or leave based on their club experience. So tonight, I actually, typically if we have a big group, we break up into breakout groups and have you guys talk a little bit. But it looks like we've got about 18 participants, which is kind of good, because what I'd like to do is sort of facilitate a conversation so that we can all kind of learn from the people that are on the call. There's a wide range of people that are on the call that have a wide ranges of experience, some short time in Rotary and some a long time in Rotary. So part of what happens in these trainings is that we learn most of the stuff that we learn from each other. Now, some of you really respond to going on the Learning Center in Rotary and clicking through those courses. I've done a lot of them myself, but what I find, at least for me, is that I tend to learn the most about Rotary from the people that are around me that are Rotarians. And the more I learn, the more it embeds more of Rotary in me. So, okay, so let's start off. I'm gonna basically start out with a PowerPoint that's going to make a couple of points, and then I'm going to shut it off, and I'm going to engage you guys in a conversation. So if you want to be part of the conversation, then you can turn your camera on when we start talking, because if you don't turn your camera on, I don't know if you're actually there or not. So I may or may not call you. So those brave souls now that have your camera on, you're going to be basically the biggest part of the presentation tonight. Okay, so let me start with club culture. So how's everybody? Everybody see that okay? Naomi, you can tell me, do we see that okay? Let's see. Slideshow from the beginning. Yes? No? Good. The big thumbs up. Okay, so we're going to talk about club culture, and club culture is basically how your club thinks, how it behaves, and how it acts, and every club does it a different way, and it's really based upon the people that are in your club. So if you think about your club and how long you've been in that club, that it has probably evolved. I know mine has. I mean, I haven't been a Rotarian that long, like eight years, I think now. But the culture of my club has changed dramatically, because the original group that was there when I got there, most of those guys are gone right now. And for whatever reason, people leave Rotary. But what I'm finding is that the people that have made a decision to stay in Rotary, that's a personal decision, and a lot of it is based on the culture that's in their club. So I've always considered the four-way test kind of a culture statement. And what I mean by that is, when Paul Harris started Rotary in 1905, and he put together the four-way test shortly after that, what he was trying to do basically is not create this mantra that we say at the beginning or at the end of every meeting. He was really giving us guidelines for how he wanted us to behave, right? He wanted us to value the truth. He wanted us to value fairness. He wanted us to put a high premium on goodwill and relationships. And then he wanted us to do work that was beneficial to everybody concerned. So, you know, I know most of us have done the four-way test thousands and thousands of times. And I want us to start really thinking about it as, you know, these are guidelines for how we need to behave as Rotarians. And for the most part, that's the kind of cool thing about the four-way test. For the most part, as you travel around the world and you meet Rotarians, basically, they all kind of behave like this. And it's no accident that they do that, because I think that this was baked in by design. Okay, let's see. Okay, so what I want to start with our first question today, and I'm going to actually stop sharing this so I can see everybody's face, is what are you doing to give your members a sense that they belong? And I'm going to stop it right now so I can see everybody. And the reason I asked that question is that that's one of the things that Rotary really talks about in terms of getting people to make a long-term commitment to Rotary. It's really about having that sense of belonging. So I want you to think about your particular club and what you're doing so that they have this sense that they belong. And so all you guys that have your camera on, what that means is that you're going to engage in the conversation. And I'm going to start with Jay because Jay always has something to say. Go ahead, Jay.
Okay. You know, we do the happy dollars, but that's more to tell things. We have a couple of members that have different college football games that they like, and they'll kid each other about it.
Yeah.
Just the conversation between the people. You know, it's not all seriousness. And we do pauhanas, or the fourth meeting of the month. We don't have a formal meeting. We'll either go visit something or we'll have a pauhana. And it's try to be fun. You know, one of the ones we had at the beginning of the summer was tell us about your best vacation, your worst vacation, the one you want to forget. Just make people open up, because you can go to a pauhana and you're going to sit with the same 2 or 3 people, but unless you engage with everyone and go around the table, or the chairs in this case, you're not going to get to know them. And we get to know people, and that's, you have to know your members, know your the people. And well, being president, I mean, I don't get to sit down with other people, but I would never sit at the same table. I'd always try and play, you know, a new table to sit down and talk to them.
Okay, great. Joni, how about you? What's your thought about that? What's your club doing to give members a sense that they belong?
The projects that we do, we make sure to invite everyone to participate. Yeah. We had one Saturday night, a fundraiser that was bingo games, and we got almost full participation. A couple of people who never participated, of course, didn't. But I think you can't have culture if you don't have a gathering. And so we work on the gathering. I make sure I call anyone who hasn't been to a few meetings. I'm not asking them, not bothering them, just making sure they're okay. Just checking in with them. So giving a culture of belonging means, I think, having someone follow up on you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Those are the 2 things I wrote down.
Yeah, that's a great answer, because you know, when I joined my club, it was pretty cliquish, right? So there was one sort of main clique of about maybe 7 or 8 people that kind of ran the club, and so they had kind of their own group, and then it was everybody else. So it's hard to get that sense that you belong to the whole club. It was really about, do I belong to this group or to that group? Now it's changed since then, but has anybody had that experience in their club where there's groups or factions in the club, and it's hard to get a line on, well, do you really belong? I mean, and where do you belong? So, Laura, I see you smiling about that. So, what's your thought about that? Oh, you're still muted.
When you get old, you forget things like that. Anyway,
No
so we had kind of that interesting experience in that we did have a clique that if they did everything together and they did a lot of good things, but if you weren't part of that group, you really had no idea what was going on in the club. And so it was an interesting sort of thing. That what has happened actually is that most of the members of that clique have together moved over to another club. So that solved our problem. That was fine. We're getting much better inclusion now to get making sure that all of where we've had 5 new members. So we're making sure that those new members are definitely involved and are trying to get them part of everything going on. And that seems to be working so far. However, I'll just let you all know that Rotary Club of East Honolulu is looking for a few good men, because we are 96% women right at the moment. So, my husband's tired of being the token male at a meeting. So, if you know any guys, send them over.
Okay, that sounds enticing. Well, we'll have to remember that. We'll put that out in the next newsletter, Naomi.
Okay, good.
Okay. So Paul, what about a small club like yours? Paul, I know you and Kimo have small clubs. So is it easier or is it harder to give people a sense of belonging in a small club?
Well, Benson, being from a small club, we really don't have that problem.
Yeah.
Not right now, anyhow. And the reason is because we're so small. You have to, work with everybody in the club. It's so small that you just have to. I can't recall us ever being cliquish, in a long time since we've been a small club. But culture-wise, I think getting together frequently is good medicine for our culture. For example, we want to bring back a golf tournament, which used to raise, a lot of money for scholarship. So this past Friday night, we had a scholarship golf tournament meeting, and I would say majority of the people, especially the new ones, attended because we haven't had our golf tournament since just before COVID. So it's been 5 years since our golf tournament, and a lot of these new members have never experienced a golf tournament. So they showed up, and now because of them, we might be looking at our 22nd annual scholarship golf tournament coming up sometimes in 2024. So again, to answer your question, we're so small that we don't have that cliquish thing. We try to, stay together as members.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Kimo, what about you? I know you've got a small club too. What are some of the issues that you're having in terms of giving people the sense of belonging?
Hello, Benson. You always do a great job. It's a good thing you have Naomi keeping an eye on you to make sure that you get everything in order.
Gotta have that. Yeah, won't work without Naomi.
I did come from the Hilo Club and love those guys over there. And it looks like everyone on this call, all the faces I see it's sort of like our own club. It's like very familiar faces. The Rotary Club of North Hawaii was founded in 1955, has a strong international connection, did a lot of international services over the years, had a great deal of international connection, Paul Harris connections. And in the last few years, the club just walked away from giving to the Rotary Foundation. You know, Charity Navigator has given TRF, the Rotary Foundation, #1 rating. And I come from an international service background. So one of my personal goals is to get this club back in international services. The club has focused more on youth services and forgotten about international service. It's like, well, if we give the money to Evanston, Illinois, we don't know where that money's going. But in reality, the Rotary International program is giving over $1 billion a year and doing wonderful things around the world. And so it's a matter of educating the newer members as to what's going on. So that's one of my personal goals, is to kind of get that out there, get that information going. And of course, I do global telemedicine projects. I continue to do work in international and run around the world and do great stuff. So that's one of my focuses. So I want to kind of offset my club, my little club, and get it going and get it back and giving money to the Rotary Foundation. So that's one of my huge goals.
Yeah, that's a great goal too. And you know, you can't learn too much about Rotary. There's just so much out there. So educating your group is really a good way to do it. So Connie, I'm going to come to you now. And so how do you give people a sense of belonging in a club that's the largest club in the state? And I'm going to let Alan answer that one too, because I know, you know, he's been a member for a bunch of years too.
There's
So go
two
ahead.
Alans though. One is Alan
Okay,
Kusunoki,
Alan,
Colonel.
Hilo Alan. How's that?
Oh, okay. So do you want me to go first then? Alan,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Connie.
I think our club over the years has gotten really, really good at being very friendly and full of warmth and aloha. So as soon as somebody comes in, I think they're almost tackled, you know, everybody's on them, like hugging them and talking to them, asking them questions. It's like, whoa, you know, and so I think that's what helps a lot. And also I think that our club is very good at trying to find our members' passions, and we always want to find other projects. So there's a variety of things for them to choose from. And as you're getting to know them and talking to them, if they say like, oh, I really have a passion for like this, one of our newer members, he has this initiative that he does, and they teach handicapped individuals how to paddle canoe. And he said he's very passionate about that. And so our club said, hey, let's get involved in that too. So our club got involved, and some of the members are going out there and helping with the individuals and helping, working with them. And so, we try to find a lot of different things for our members to get involved in. And so they have more, it just adds to the sense of belonging, because when you work side by side with someone, you get to know them a lot better. You get to become family when you work next to them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah, great point. I mean, being engaged with them work-wise is really a great thing. So Alan Kusunoki, I'm interested in your point of view on this.
Well, I guess for me, coming into the Hilo Club many years ago was rather interesting, in that the club at that time probably had close to 120 members already. And then, of course, over the years, we went all the way down into the low 70s, and then we climbed back up again. For me, I've never thought about the Hilo Club as a small club. When we've had all of our lunches, it's usually in a large venue where we have a lot of round tables. And I personally made it a point to sit at a different table, a different group of people each week, no matter what. I just kept moving around. And so I would get to know the individual members other than the president and the board. just because I sat next to them and just started talking to them. But I think one of the things that our club seems to be doing very well, even after I left Hilo, I see it having a number of projects going on at the same time, and things are constantly going on. There's a little group that puts together lunch once a week. There's this group now that Connie talked about the canoes and the helping the handicapped, teaching them how to actually do that. There are a number of things that are always going on there. For me, coming to Oahu and visiting other clubs here has been eye-opening for me, because most of the clubs that I've gone to are, obviously smaller. And fortunately, I know a lot of people, so it makes it quite easy. I think one of the things that I think I've seen other presidents in our club do, kind of following in what I used to do. Connie can probably talk about this. When she joined, I made it a point when she joined that she was going to get to know the president. I deliberately made a beeline for her and all the other new members to actually talk to them and let them know that they are so welcome in our club. And I think that's something that a president has to do. You've got to get out there and talk to and get to know the new members, because if they don't feel wanted, it's going to be very difficult. Connie, can you address that? Yeah.
I have to tell a story, Alan. You know the story. He loves this story, okay? He loves it. He wants me to tell it. But you know what? When I first joined, I felt so like insignificant. I felt like I was nobody, and nobody wanted me to talk to me, and nobody wanted me to sit at their table. Nobody wanted me in their committee. Shall I bring out my violin?
Yeah.
But anyway, I felt really sorry for myself, and I didn't want to go to meetings, and I was gonna quit. And then President Alan Kusunoki called me and said, "Hey, I haven't seen you at a meeting." And I was like, wow, at the time, I didn't know Alan, and I thought, wow, the president is calling me. It's like, wow, I was so honored. And I thought I was just nobody, right? And then he said, that if you're having a hard time making our meeting, let's go to the Hilo Bay Club's meeting. It's on Wednesdays at 7 in the morning. He goes, I'll go with you. I'll meet you there. And I was like, wow, I was really touched and impressed that he would reach out like that to someone he didn't even know, some nobody like me. And he's like way up there, the president, So after that, I kind of thought, okay, stop feeling sorry for yourself and, get to those meetings and get involved. And yeah, so thank you, Alan. And so what he says, he's not just, saying it, he really does do it. So yeah, he's awesome. Thank you, Alan. I can tell you lots more stories about Alan, but.
Oh yeah, I know, but we're good. Thank you. That's good. So one of the points that we're seeing there is that it really takes the work of others to really have people have a sense of belonging. So Vern, I wanted to ask you, because you moved here to Kona, from the mainland, just showed up. So how long did it take you to get a sense of belonging about, being a part of your club? Now you're the president-elect, right?
Yeah, president and president-elect. So,
wow, you got two jobs. That's great.
Basically, I showed up at a breakfast meeting here at Sunrise at Papakona, and I immediately felt embraced by the folks there. I don't know if it was desperation or what, but I really did, and immediately people took me under their wing, because I had all kinds of questions about Rotary, and I still do. That's why I'm here. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But what I've discovered is there is a group in our club that kind of takes that on to make sure that people are welcome and And as they come in and greet us, our speakers and anybody, we really try to embrace the folks that do join us. We've got several members that have a tough time joining us periodically just because of distance or other obligations, or they're on the mainland. So it's really good. What we try to do once a month is to have each member that we have talk about themselves and their basically the life story, which I think is important. We've really learned a lot, and that helps us understand each other better. At a small club, I think that helps. Maybe a larger club can't necessarily do that, but it's really helped us. And then this last month, and I'm going to continue doing it, I picked up on the Rotary magazine a couple months ago about asking people in your club, what was your Rotary moment? When did you decide that you're part of the Rotary family? And that really opened up a lot of comments on exactly when it was a service project or sometime that somehow they connected with Rotary and said, "This is it. This is where I belong." So I thought that was pretty interesting. That was in the magazine. Picked up on it. We'll keep doing that, I think, over time.
Yeah, that's a great one, and we're going to actually talk about that. Your, when you decided that this was really for you and you wanted to be embedded in that. So that's a great one.
I just want
Yeah.
to comment that
Go ahead.
you know Vern very well, and he has really lightened up the Sunrise Club in Kona. And a lot of the Rotarians travel a lot, but it seems like the people on the Kona side, they just go to the airport on a regular basis, and so they're gone all the time. But Vern seems to manage that really well. And he and his wife, Nancy, he partners with his wife. He gets her to go to work, and it's really a strong club. So Vern, hats off to you. Great president. Really a good addition to the Rotary family.
Yeah.
Aloha.
Thanks, Vern. That's a really good point, because I always felt like I felt like a part of Rotary, but I didn't really start feeling it until my wife got involved in Rotary, because then it cemented both of us into it. So that was really a good thing. So, so Tom, I wanted to get your thought about this.
Thanks, Benson. I appreciate that. And I appreciate these meetings quite a bit. So
Thanks.
I think my Rotary experience might have been a little bit different than most people's here. When I joined the Rotary Club of Honolulu, which was 19 years ago, they had close to 400 members in the club. And you talk about intimidating, and these were pretty important people in the community. So we met at the Monarch Room at the Royal Hawaiian and all that. I think most of you have probably heard about that. So being in the front seat, witnessing the decline of the club, we're now 120 members, has been a humbling experience. And I think a humble experience for most of the Rotarians in our club. We have a lot of members from those days, but we also have a lot of members who have no idea that we were that kind of club. So they don't have any relationship to that. And so we're a little bit of a club in crisis, identity crisis. The pandemic really had a big effect on us and who we are. But we've had some strong leaders. We've had some strong presidents, and they've done a good job of getting us back on track. And I feel confident that our club is poised to start to grow and get back to what we were. And it's fascinating to watch all this stuff. It's wonderful to hear stories from you all and your experiences. And being president-elect for this club, And I can relate back to the days when I first joined. I'm still very humbled and, very appreciative of the fact that, they have decided I'm worthy of that position. And, our goal is to get our identity back, get us back on track, and see where it takes us. So that's where I'm at.
Wow, good answer, Tom. Thanks. Naomi, I want your opinion on this, and then Nalani, I wanted to ask you a separate question. So what do you think, Naomi? What do we have to do, or what are you guys doing in your club to give people a sense of belonging, that they belong?
We got to change it up sometimes, so I'm going to change it up right now.
Yeah, good. Oh yeah, we like that.
Okay, wait, sorry. Let me try.
Good.
But people change their the way that they might have retired, they might have changed their life situation. So we have to adapt to the situation. But in our club, because we've got a core group of all Punahou classmates, they have a kind of a clique, but they're good at including and they banter each other, and that's what makes it fun. So what we're trying to do is get in touch with people we haven't seen, find out why they're not coming to meetings, because most of our club members are the rule of 85. So so we just need to keep track of them.
Does everybody know what that is? The rule of 85? Everybody got that? Okay. All right. That means like if you're 85, you get a discount, I guess, right? Okay.
So the rule of 85 is if you have age plus years of service and it totals 85, you've been in Rotary for more than 20 years, you're kind of exempt from attending meetings.
Okay. All right. Nalani, I wanted you to ask you a question. Do you think a sense of belonging in Rotary is permanent, or do you think you can have a sense of belonging and then lose it and then come back to it? Or do you think that once you have the sense of belonging that it's always there? What do you think?
You can have a sense of belonging and then lose it too. It's something that you have to work at, and you have to be focused on keeping everyone, up there. And one thing that people want is to be noted, to be cared for, to be acknowledged, a heart of gratitude, whatever small things that they do. When you feed that, people, say, wow, I must be important. And you are important. We have 2 young members now in age. I'm talking about in age. And I've set myself to be there for them, to nurture, to invite them, not only what we're doing in Rotary, but outside of Rotary. One of our newest member, she was running for Miss Aloha Island. I've never heard of that, but and she happened to mention it, and I said, well, honey, why don't you announce to the club members, and you can sell a ticket. Oh no, she's so shy, so I have to do that for her. And she's, because she's new. And when you go out there, and when I attended, I was so proud of her. She said, I'm so glad I did win. I got the best prize. And what was that? Miss Congeniality. And she was, Miss Congeniality. And when you support them outside and you call, like people have mentioned here, they said, wow, I am important. And what's important is if they can see your heart and hear your heart and say, you do matter, they will stay.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that 100%. So Alan Kamimoto, you're the only person I haven't heard from that has their camera on. So I wanted to get your thought before we move on to the next thought or question. Just gotta unmute.
We're a small club also, so we have a difficult time all the time, although we're building it. I realize that, and I've mentioned this before in other meetings, that being a small club has geographic challenges. You know, anytime we have meetings, so when we get new members, we want to try and keep everybody together so we can, in a smaller area. Our area is Hickam Pearl Harbor, but our members stretch from Waikiki all the way out to Waikele. So it's really hard to have people get meetings together or even community service projects. But our claim to fame, I think, is even if we are a small club, we really try to get people involved with community service, and that's how we recruited in the past to get people come to community service projects, enjoy what we do, enjoy our work ethic, and then get interested in Rotary that way. So that's always been our big push, and now we're really trying to expand and get working with the military, getting more military people in. But small clubs are real difficult. I've been working on it for what, 5 years, and we're still back to where we started with 20, went down to 11, came back up to 20. So hopefully we can go north from here. So
yeah, it's a kind of a challenging thing, but the point of what everybody's sort of sharing is that there's things that can be done in every club that help to make a club more welcoming to people. And I think that, when we get ideas, like some of the things that I've heard tonight, I've heard a lot of stuff over the last 4 years of doing this, but every once in a while somebody pops out something that I think to myself, maybe that could work. So I want to take us up. Go ahead, Alan. You had a comment or another question?
Yeah, one more real quick one. We were so successful in being welcoming. Some of our prospective members thought we were a drinking club.
Oh, good. Well, did you guys ever drink? Were you ever drinking during your events?
We drink a lot at the meetings. I hate to say this, but we have a good time. Everybody's very friendly, so that really welcomes people. And then when they get in, they says, "Oh, gee, I thought this was just a drinking club." Two members actually said that to us. But anyway, that's an interesting hook. So you can try that too at your next meeting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's something that always works for Connie. And I know when she talks about having events, she always recommends that you have alcohol because it just makes the event better. So Connie, you wanna touch on Alan's comment? Because I know that's one of your important things.
Well, no, not my important things, because I don't drink.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Everyone else in the club. They're Rotarians, their middle initials or their middle name is losers. So that's the
okay. This is a kind of a gregarious group over here. So kind of the last thing I wanted to get to, because I see that the core group of every club is typically the people that basically have made a lifetime commitment to Rotary, right? They've decided for themselves, for whatever reason, this is good, I'm going to be a part of it, I like the people, I have this sort of sense of belonging. And my feeling is that, if you're going to expand your club, that it kind of starts with this core group, and anybody can be in that core group. I mean, we have one guy in our club, who's only been in our club 3 months, and he's already decided, like, hey, this is a good thing, and I want to be part of the core group. He hasn't made a decision that, he wants to be a Rotarian for the rest of his life, but what does it take to do that? I know for me personally, it's really about the people in Rotary, and the more I get to know them, the more I'm convinced that this is a group of people that I want to be around.
And I think that part of belonging into a club is getting this sense that the people that are around you are really solid people, that they're going to be there, that they believe in the principles of Rotary, they practice them, they do them, and they made a decision personally for themselves that, hey, this is something that I want to do. I'm going to do it for as long as I can do it. I personally, I feel like that's sort of infectious, that it gets around to other people, and when new members come in and they experience it. Like for me, when I came into my club, I had 3 guys that had all been in Rotary over 50 years apiece. And as I got around them and saw their level of commitment, it wasn't too long before I could see the value of that. So I wanted to kind of talk about that, about, you know, where you see yourself in Rotary, and do you think that getting people in your club to make a long-term commitment to Rotary is something that will help your club, that will grow your club, and will help others to make that same decision for themselves? So Jay, I'm going to start with you again. What's your thought?
Okay. As we know, a tremendous amount of Rotarians brought into Rotary drop out in the first year.
Correct.
In the first 4 years.
That's why I'm asking that. Yeah.
It's over half of them are dropping out in the first 5 years. You know, you do have to make a commitment. I mean, I could give you my personal opinion. I mean, I joined Rotary. It was a fairly small club back in this, you know, early 70s, and it was 30 members, and we did meet at a country club, and they did have drinks there. But it was a lunchtime meeting, so we had to go back to work. But the you know, the 4-way test was, I was a businessman, you know, a shop owner, and that's the way I did business, and it helped me. You know, number one, I joined because now I was younger, obviously, and I was with the elders of the town and everything, and they accepted me. And as you got to learn the 4-way test, you know, is it the truth? Well, you know, if you do that in business, you're going to be successful. You know, is it fair to everyone concerned? I mean, you know, you have to make a living, but they have to be able to get a fair, you know, shake on whatever they're doing. So I found that to be the way to do it. If you could commit, or the person can commit and realize what the 4-way test is, I think that they could become a good Rotarian. Or if they don't stay Rotarian, at least if they commit that to their life, they might not be official member, but they'll be a Rotarian in their heart by the way things that they do.
Okay, Jay, thanks. Thanks. That's a great one. So Joni, let's go to you. So why are you, you know, I tell people that everybody needs to have their Rotary story ready to tell. And the Rotary story is basically how I got into Rotary and why I'm still in Rotary. So
that's easy to ask. How I got into Rotary, somebody asked me to come. I think one of my clients said, and I think Kapolei was 1 year old. And so she said, do you want to come and check out speakers, and we do community, whatever it was she said. I don't really even remember. So I came, and I think I felt satisfied in the sense that we did good things in the community. At the time we had a fun run for the kids, you know, brand new club. So we weren't really huge, and we grew into the Taste of Kapolei, and you know, I stayed because, not so much because of the people, because I kind of kept apart. I joined everything. I did stuff, but work and family, you know, you're busy. That was early 90s, so a long time ago. And yes, Jay, I was also much younger then. But I stayed because of the good works we do, and I stay now because of the good works we do. And I think no matter who's in the club with me or what club I'm in, it's Rotary in general that I stay for, because I do believe that they make a difference in the world. And that's
okay,
my story.
Joni. Thanks. Tom, what's your thought on it? You know, 19 years is a long time.
So what keeps you in Rotary?
Well, there's a very important social aspect of Rotary that I really enjoy. At least initially, it was probably the most important attraction for me. And being a businessman, I had that interaction with a lot of different people who were important in the community. However, as I progressed in Rotary and got involved in more and more of our community projects and those types of events, it really resonated with me that really this is really what Rotary is. And our club, back in the early 2000s, we would do a foster family Christmas party every year. And some of you remember that. And they would be about 2,000 foster kids and their families that would go to the Blaisdell and have a big turkey dinner. And it was a huge production. It was a lot of people, and multiple clubs were involved, and there was this buzz in the air. And I'll just never forget, I was the guy who came in the mornings and set everything up and I was there at 5 o'clock in the morning to get the Blaisdell set up. And I'll never forget, right around lunchtime, and this woman kept coming up to me and saying, "Okay, Tom, what do you want me to do now?" And it was Maisie Hirono. Before she was certainly before she was senator, but and she was just so engaging, and it was just such a wonderful experience. And then looking around the room and seeing the satisfaction on those kids and their families and the gifts they got, it resonated with me, and it really left a mark. And I just couldn't see myself not being involved in Rotary after that.
Wow, that's a great story. Okay, so we got about 12 more minutes left, and so there's still some important business to attend to. So I'm gonna shift and pass the ball over to Naomi to talk a little bit about club elections, because that's what we need to be doing and working on right now. So go ahead, Naomi.
Okay, thanks. The position of the Alakai is really important in the club because you get to help the board, the members learn about Rotary and also guide them in what needs to be done. So one of the things that we've been talking about for the past year or two is building your succession plan, your bench. So if we can ask all of you to go back to your clubs in October, your club should start developing a nominating committee and looking at who the new incoming officers would be. So if you start now thinking about who you want to develop, who is ready to take a lead in July, then your call for nominations in November and December, you should have a club election. So club election, you're voting for the board, but you're voting for a president-elect that's going to take office 18 months from then. Okay, so if you don't have a PE, which should have been elected last year, that's something else that you need to work on. So if we can ask all of you, if your club does not have a succession plan or a plan for the roster coming up in December, to see if you can work with your president and your board on getting that done. So, right, Alan, you're the co-pilot for the president. So I want to give you some ideas of what you can do to help your club get on the right track and guide them. Right, Alan?
Right. We have 2-year cycles, so that kind of helps quite a bit. So the officers were really not a big a problem, but we also want to lay out the committee chairs, like the youth service, vocational, the 4 avenues of service. But being such a young club, it's really hard to fit people. We always You know, there are some people in our club that says, well, you know, build a field and they will come. You know, I don't subscribe to that. I subscribe to the fact that the president got to tap somebody on the shoulder and says, hey, I need your help. You know, why don't you consider being the youth service chair or whatever? I think people got to be encouraged to, and you can kind of tell who likes youth service stuff and community service. But I think I really believe that the president, his leadership, or her leadership, supposed to guide people into the positions, and so that's what we're working on now. I think we got a pretty good slate. We just got a couple more holes to fill. But again, with only 20 members, I mean, everybody's got at least 2 or 3 jobs, you know. So we really, membership is a driving force for us right now.
Can I add something there, Benson? You know, one of the things that we used to have was, well, the district governors certainly still have it. We know well ahead of time who's coming up in the next year, the following year, and the third year after. We used to have that as a requirement too for the president. And I recall my first introduction to ever committing to be a leader for the Hilo Club was I was asked, would you be the president nominee? And I think it's so important while you're going out there and searching for your leadership in the next few years, don't concentrate just on the president-elect. Talk about the president nominee. And sometimes if a person knows it's going to be 2-3 years before they're president, they're a bit more relaxed and might agree to that. And at least then, while you're asking for that president-elect, you're lining up other people for the future. And I really think that works. Because it certainly worked at the time that we were doing it. Like I said, I started out as a nominee, and then I went to elect, then president, you know, and even having the immediate past president as a recognition, it kind of adds that leadership is just part of what you're supposed to be doing in Rotary.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I know that at one time we had our leadership line like 5 deep, you know, that it's been harder to kind of fill those lines in, but the deeper you can make it, a lot easier it is. And people, even new members, when they join, of course, they don't want to be president next year, but they could do it maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years, maybe down the line. So it's never too early to think about talking to people in your club about leadership. And just like Alan and Connie and everybody that's president today, typically you got there because somebody asked you to do it. So part of what we have to do as leaders is not just lead, but we have to be good askers. Yeah, we have to be the people that are going to do the asking. So, okay, any final thoughts? Anybody? Naomi, any final thoughts you want to add in?
Well, besides the chair position, it's good to build up the bench by having committees. So like a membership committee, right, Connie? It should be like 5 people so that you can have different people concentrate on different things and help, because then you spread out the work. It's not on one person. So think about committees, and then that way you can develop your leaders and kind of see who's going to make a good president down the line. So you're training them on the different aspects, but also think about who's good in your club that might be good for the district level in committees, on the membership committee, the foundation committee, and who may be good for a president to be the district governor down the line. So help as the club trainer, the Alakai, you can help guide the career or the growth of your members as well in leadership positions.
Yeah, that is an issue that every single club is challenged with, is trying to develop leadership within your club. And so it's really good, especially if you're a board. You know, if your board is meeting regularly, one of the things that they should always be concerned about is like, okay, who in our club has the potential to be a leader? I mean, who could we ask? Who could we talk to about? And it might be a situation where it might take a little while to kind of nurture them, give them some ideas about, you know, things that they should know, or things that they could do, trainings they could attend, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, keep it up. Okay, any last thoughts, comments? You know, this is a good group that shows up every month. Thank you so much for doing that. We know that, you know, these conversations and trainings have an effect, because, you know, the more you know about Rotary, the more you can engage, the more active you are, and then of course you pass it on to other people. So, okay, well, thanks a lot for joining us tonight, guys. We'll try to get the word out a little earlier next month. This month kind of a busy month and got behind. Okay, so take it easy, and we'll talk to you guys later. See you later.
Thank
Bye-bye
you.
now.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you. Aloha.
Mm.